saw, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. She give me a bit of her love. Yo, what up, y'all? Welcome to another one, man. It's your boy Rob One, and this is Sparking Conversation. And y'all know what I do each and every week. I get up here and I talk to some of the world's most interesting people. And tonight I'm gonna do the same thing. But before we get into that, I gotta start every show off like I do every week, giving thanks to all the people who download the audio version of this platform. Thank y'all so much. I like to let all my fellow podcasters know, man. I understand that you guys like this part right here, and we equate this part only, the visual part, to a podcast, but technically it's your audio, right? Your audio, Apple, Spotify, and all these other places people download the audio versions of your platform. That's where you definitely have to be. You know what I'm saying? Because technically, that's how you get to the real bag. We know that there's a way that you could get it and monetize on social media platforms as well. We know the streaming platforms is just another way. So why short yourself, right? Even podcasts is no different than radio. It's just without music, right? But you're a journalist, right? In some shape, form, or fashion, because you're allowing other people to tell their stories while telling stories. So you got to remember that. You got to treat this as that, right? That way you won't get caught up in all the views and the likes and the comments that you may not get, that you think you should get, or whatever it may seem like that's going to make your podcast popping, or just something that you think people are taking in. You know, I know some people lose confidence in their platform whenever they don't get a certain type of traction as they feel like they can. But all the best even the top ones, even if you go study Joe Rogan, he'll tell you in his first 5 years or so of doing this podcast show, it wasn't good. You got to think about it. He come from the world of sports and all that other stuff, so he had to find his way. You know, it was easy for him to go up there and talk about sports and stuff like that, but he still had to find his way. We see what he's doing now. He barely talk about sports, and when he do talk about it, it's about, you know, something that's huge coming. But his podcast has went beyond any other way that we could ever think about, just from the way he started. But his first 5 years, it was a struggle. Well, in the sense of it wasn't really popping. So for all y'all out there, you know, that are doing these platforms, remember, if you're not, you know, just distributing your audio version, and there's a link in the description, RSS feeds. Click that link, jump out there, start distributing your content right now. Go back, get your past episodes, do whatever you got to do. Go ahead and start getting your stuff out there, because I promise you, it'll change the trajectory of how things are looked at whenever it comes to your platform, all right? Outside of that, let's get into some of these things here, y'all, because y'all know it's a lot going on. So before we get into my rant and before I bring my guest up, I also got to let y'all know, thank you, because today it definitely dropped. Tarot Reading Go Wrong Part 12. I told y'all we keeping our foot on the gas with this content. As y'all see, it just dropped. This is my series on just being a bad tarot reader, or being a tarot reader that use everything that tarot readers don't use to tell your fortune, right? So that's the vibe. So I want all of y'all out there to go push play on that. Team Collective TV. You can go see that. Or if you're on Facebook, it's pinned to the top of my timeline. Y'all go check that out. Okay, outside of that, this is, y'all know, we don't wait, we create. Of course, everyone has been hitting me. I'm getting a lot of inquiries and all these other things about it. Thank y'all so much. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in the building, right? We got Vincent M. Ward from The Walking Dead will be here, right? Chopping it up with all you inspiring actors, actresses, all of y'all that's in the business of entertainment, that's in the movie side. You want to ask this guy the questions that you have. Why? Because he not only is an actor, or best known for being an actor, but he also produces and writes his own content and puts his own content out as well, as far as in the form of films. So for all of y'all that are in any position in the film industry, you want to come have this conversation and chop it up. So make sure y'all are in the building. Also, we got Don Monroe in the building. He will be in the building. Y'all know he work a lot with, he's a talent manager, but he work a lot with models. So a lot of you models out there, if you want to stop doing modeling as a hobby, you want to turn it into a profitable business for yourself, right? Then you need to be there and come drop these jewels, because I'm telling y'all, Models should be linked up with clothing lines. Clothing lines should have brand ambassadors. You should have some way where you can compensate the people for helping you move around your product. So we want to connect that. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get that build that bridge in between modeling and brand ambassador and actually making money off of your modeling. So be ready. Okay, we got Yessie Rodriguez will be in the building with Slater Scene, Acting Academy, and workshop. So for all of y'all out there, like I said, actors, actresses, whatever you're doing, this you want to be here. Why? Because you know you want to chop it up with her and figure out what is going on when it comes down to sharpening the tools in your toolbox. If you feel like there's, you know, you need a little bit of extra work, and you know, then why not go to somebody who's been proven to make it happen, right? We know that a lot of people try to get booked out here, and we've been told, and like everybody else knows, only 3% of the Hollywood industry is working right now. So if you are one of those that's trying to get or be a part of that 3%, then you got to go with the people who are part of that 3%, right? The people who get booked. So make sure y'all are in the building. And we also got Grammy nominated producer Mike Blaze in the building. He will be in the building. So artists, this is why I want y'all in the building, because, you know, movies need music, right? And you need clothes for your videos and all your drops. And then, you know, all these things interconnect and work together. The only thing is that y'all guys are not working together. So this is the vibe. Mike Blaze will be in the building, chopping it up with all you inspiring artists to get y'all mind right. You know, he got Moolah out there. She doing her thing, formerly Tish Songbird. She signed right now and moving and shaking. So if you want to come get these jewels, trying to find out, he also is, you know, he records and he has beats as well too. So if you guys are serious about your craft in that perspective, you want to be in here, man. So make sure y'all be there. And then we got, you know, Amber Dirksen, she will be in there, media covering the bill, and this elite mode media will be in there covering the bill. Like I said, she'll be out there getting all the people that come. You know what they're gonna do, man? They're gonna chop it up with y'all, find out what you think of the event, find out how you feel, and we just gonna get further coverage. So when we do the next We Don't Wait, We Create, it'll be even bigger than the one from before. All right. So last but not least, no, this is not last. Got a couple more, but we got. This is something that's fly right here, right? Because if anybody here is developing their brand, you want to come get this free conversation with Daryl Stern. He is going to show you how to go from 0 a month to multi-figure revenue. But this is something that you guys got to want to come get the information. The information will be free. I only have 7 VIP spots left. They're free, right, where you could actually be on the live with me and be able to ask them questions. Anybody else can watch the live and they can ask questions through the comments. But here's the thing. We'll be chopping it up for about an hour. And if you feel like you need the mentorship and all that, then you can further your conversation and your business with him outside of that, because everybody that is in this business or in this situation that we are in when we're developing brands, you have to be able to roll with the people who already have proven that they can help develop the brand. And that's it. And the information is the only thing people are missing from going from zero to a multi-figure revenue. So y'all want to be in a building, y'all know the vibes. Hit me up at, let's see, we got to make sure that y'all know where to go. So come hit me up at sparkingconversation@gmail.com. Y'all know, and I will get y'all the link and you will be in the building. Other than that, just when we go live, man, just July 21st, we'll be going live. Just be here and get the information that way. All right. So we know that a lot of people deal with a lot of things health-wise. I don't want to leave this out ever. So I want you guys to continue to look up the effects of parasites in the body, figure out if you have any of the symptoms that go along with it. And if you do, I want you to click the link in the description, y'all. We got the parasite detox ready there for you. And listen, you could, like I said, do the research, figure it out, and then come back, do the research on the actual ingredients that's in this detox as well, right? And then go from there, man. You know, health as well. You got to take care of yourself because nobody is coming to save us, all right? All right. Y'all know the Good Feels brand is out here. Y'all get 20% discount off THC infused seltzer waters if that's your vibe. If you want to get to where you're going without alcohol, then y'all know what to do. Click the link in the description and it'll be there for y'all. So with that being said, y'all, let's go into this, man. Let's get into my rant. Let's do it, because I've been noticing that a lot of people have been, you know, responding to the videos that I put up about the Carmelo Anthony case, especially on TikTok. You guys are brutal, right? But you further prove my point. Whenever I talk about things based on a racist point of view from either side, no matter what side of the spectrum you on, I mean, whatever your color is or whatever you call yourself, right? Anytime you bring up anything about racist, then it brings out the racist. You know that? That's the weirdest thing, because in the clips that these people are responding to, I'm not even talking to anybody else outside of us. I'm talking about all the people that look like me that be sitting out here allowing their emotions to get the best of them, and then they react based on their emotions instead of thinking things through or being better prepared to come back another day and be able to do things, right? When it comes down to their life. Or whenever I talked about the Carmelo Anthony case from the sense of, it's one thing for everybody to say it was legal for him to have a knife. I get all that. Everything else. The only difference is nobody ever threw a punch. So to me, I'm just saying from that perspective, right? You know what I'm saying? Another young man lost his life, and now he's potentially going to lose his. We see that there's a bunch of people come in, and they got new Ben Crump and all these other people that come out that's trying to help him and, try to get his conviction reversed and all that other stuff. But still, I hope that we still can understand that young man accountable. Like, yo, listen, bro, that shouldn't be your first resort, is to take somebody else's life in that particular situation, unless you were in a situation where you felt like your life was threatened to that point. But they never threw a punch. Nobody ever threw a punch. I saw the videos, they chasing and all this other stuff. I get that. But there's a such thing as, being able to defend yourself in a way when you get touched. When you don't get touched and then you the person that winds up doing something to somebody else, then yeah, man, you got to be held accountable for that. But I get it. If y'all feel that way, y'all do. But all the racist people that was on my joint, y'all bugging. I wasn't even talking to y'all. And the fact that this is how y'all know y'all racist, because y'all ain't even get the point. Y'all was too busy listening to what I was saying, tying it to your own emotion, talking about how you tired and you tired of black people talking about this or that and all this other stuff. You tired, take a nap, because I don't understand what you tired for. You should be tired of being in places that nobody asked you to be at. Nobody is talking to you. I mean, if you racist, I'm not talking to you at all, because my point is I was talking about racism on whatever side you are. I don't care if you black, brown, purple, green, whatever. If that's your vibe, then that's your vibe, if that's how you want to be. But you can't sit up here and not tell another person about their perspective in life. Like, what's wrong with y'all? Y'all think because y'all comment that's going to change anything? Y'all don't. Y'all just help the algorithm. So I appreciate y'all. I just want y'all to know that. When y'all jump out the window, y'all call me names, y'all put up all this other stuff like that, but that don't bother me. But it gives me content to be able to speak about. So y'all continue to do it. I'm all live. It's all love. I'm all right with it. But my perspective is always going to be mine. It's not for everybody else. I do get that we have a certain situation here where we're divided in this country. And I get that. And I'm speaking from that perspective. I'm not speaking from, whether I want people to like everything I'm saying or not. That's not the reason for having this platform. It's to spark conversation, not to spark you to like me. I'm not here to be liked by everybody. It's like, cool. As long as the people that I need to like or love me in my life, I don't care about everybody else and their particular feelings, because it's all about a perspective. All you got to do is just say what you feel. And if your feelings will attack me, then that just means you corny, not me, because I'm not responding to y'all. I'm not responding to anything y'all put up. So yes, y'all responding to me. So if I got y'all that touch where you feel like you want to thumb thug me out, then thank you. I appreciate it, because it helps the algorithm for sure. Y'all don't hurt it. Y'all help it when y'all do all these comments. I got mad comments on these videos of y'all just, all of y'all sounding off. And I also see that there's a bunch of people who liked it or saved it and all these other things, but they don't jump in there and respond with y'all either. Nobody feel like arguing with y'all, man, because you don't get the point. So anyway, outside of that, we're gonna keep moving, because I do have my guests in the building. And today's conversation is gonna be great, because it's one thing when people have a testimony, right? We know there's a lot of people out here who go to different places and they tell their story in a sense, right? And maybe the shortest version of their story is possible, but there are very few people who want to tell you their perspective enough for them to write about it and put it in a book. Now, we know there's a lot of people out there, or there's a lot of authors and things like that. I know I've had a lot on the platform of people who took their experiences and put it into a book, a writer, which I love that because, coming from doing music, that's what we are. We're writers, we're poets, right? So we write everything down. So the fact that, I channel those type of people on the platform is pretty dope to me, right? Because we understand that uh they say if you want to hide something from a person, they say put it in the book. So the best thing that we could do to get a lot of knowledge that we don't have is a lot of times it's in a book. And I've read and I've done so many different studies of different books, different mindset books, and all these other things just to help with my own mental health. And so I understand that the way that people come across whenever they have an outlet of any sort, whether it's a talent of theirs or a gift of writing, that outlet is one of the most therapeutic ways for them to be able to deal with life and keep moving forward and not let the things of their life take them to the point where they're opposite of their brothers and sisters that may be out here under a bridge somewhere, right? Or sleeping on a park bench or in that whole vibe, right? Because those people are no different from us. They just chose to go down a different fork in the road. But other than that, let's not waste any more time. Let me get the brother up, Jeremy in the building. What's good, bro?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for jumping on, man, and being willing to share your story with the crew, man, and the audience out here, man. So, look, do me a favor if you don't mind. Can you introduce yourself to the audience and then just let them know why you're on the platform this evening?
Yep. Name's Jeremy EICHENBERGer, author of An Odyssey of Oddities, the Lost Stories edition. Uh, that's all I got, man.
Yeah. Well, no. The author of Odyssey. So let's talk a little bit about that. The Odyssey of Oddities. What if a person was to ask you, yo, what's the reason? Why should I read this book? What would you tell them? Like, what are the
So,
stories you're talking about in this book?
so the book actually started off as letters to my son because the life that I was living, the end result was ultimately death at some point, right? Whether it was by my hand, by accident, or by somebody else, the way I was living was not a good life. I was doing a lot of things
Gotcha.
that I shouldn't be doing, and you know, those are a short timeline. But I knew as a young father that I didn't want him to like feel bad. I guess is kind of an arrogant way to look at it back then. That's what I didn't want anybody to feel bad, which is silly now. But I wrote the letters as kind of like guide stones to walk him through life in case I wasn't there, and also to let him know that it wasn't his fault. So,
Ah,
yeah, which was some pretty heavy stuff. And while I was reading the letters and rereading the letters, like there was a lot of anger and a lot of sadness and a lot of just, it's just, I was in a bad place, man. You could really see the pain. And like I kept all the original journals and scribbled down notes just as a reminder. But it morphed into this book. And the purpose behind the book is to share with everybody else that, look, man, in my darkest days and when I felt the most alone, I felt the most alone because I just believed that I was the only one out there that was going through it. Like
gotcha.
I didn't believe anybody else would understand. So I didn't even bother to try to talk to people. I wouldn't reach across the table. I ignored help that was being offered because it's very isolating and just not just like the mentally where I was, but I mean, addiction and everything compounded into this just downward spiral of hell ultimately.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, so whenever you first started writing the letters and I guess like you said you were writing them to your son. How old was your son at the time that you started writing these letters?
About two.
Oh, gotcha. So you was literally your baby was young at that time. So you wrote these letters in the case that for him to read when he get older is
Yeah.
basically what it is, right? So
Yeah.
how was you willing? How was you? Well, you wrote the book. Now, obviously, you made it out of that dark time. But what was your mindset on how you was going to preserve those for him? if you just wanted to leave the letters for him? How was that going to be a place, to know that he would get these when he was old enough to know about it?
Well, I mean, I've always had a lockbox, but I mean, I guess I didn't really put much thought into how they would stay around or if anybody would actually give them to him, right? Like, I didn't put much thought into, the next day, let alone 10, 15 years from that point, right? Because I couldn't see
Uh,
past X. Like, that was it.
where you were.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why I asked that question because of that, right? Because I talk about this on the platform a lot is about purpose, right? And our road to our purpose. A lot of times you either going a lot of times we hear the small voice in our head, but we don't always follow it, right? And our road to our purpose sometimes it comes through taking the path that's a little dark. And in this, like you said, you didn't think about how or if anybody would have gave it to you. Because whenever you're going through addiction in them dark times, most of the time people around you turn against you. So for them to want to, give you, a child or anybody some type of closure based on your absence, that normally ain't it. They normally by you be glad that he wasn't around because he was this, that, and the third. Because they never get
Yeah.
to see you redeemed. But you are redeemed now, right? Because you're not in that space anymore. So it led you to this book. So that's why I really asked that question, right? Because I just want the audience to know that a lot of times, because you said something really important, you said you thought you was the only one going through it, and that's definitely not the case, right? So now, whenever anybody looks or reads or watches this playback or whatever, or the people that's watching live, they'll have some type of base of understanding of their role to their purpose because you didn't expect to be here, but you are, and you have a whole book. And you said it's 15 years later. How old is your son now?
He will be 21 in August. He is actually landing.
21.
Yeah, he's landing in Nashville the night of the 29th, and I get to go pick him up. He's been away going and finishing school back home in Alaska, so I get to go scoop him up in Nashville. I'm pretty excited.
Man, see what I'm saying? So, a complete full circle from where you thought you were going to be at his younger age up until now. So, that was the main reason why I asked that. So, whenever you said back home, so you're originally from Alaska?
Yeah, born and raised. Yeah.
Gotcha. So the addiction, we know that a lot of reports that come out of Alaska, it'd be alcohol and stuff like that. So what was your demons you were facing? Just so to make sure the audience understand they're not the only one.
So I would say that drinking is predominantly the more popular one up there. In
Right.
my early days, I probably drank too much from night to night, but it wasn't like so out of control until I got hurt. I got hurt at work actually, and then it was mixing drinking, painkillers, and other street drugs, and it was the combination of all of that plus the stresses of now I don't have money, and it spiraled wildly out of control. And
Gotcha. And in that because Alaska is I haven't really I had a couple people on that had some type of dealing with Alaska, but basically like through military and stuff like that. But not as much as a resident or like you said, born and raised. So with that out there, is there a lack of like a lot of opportunities out there for you or just not a lot of opportunities that give you that amount that you need to really sustain yourself?
so, yeah, for young men up there, realistically, when you graduate high school, your best options are probably military, or if you're really lucky, you'll get a job in construction or oil and
Wow.
gas. Yeah. So there's not a lot of, I mean, there's regular jobs, but let's be honest with the
Right.
economy and the way the economy works. And I mean, with cost of everything, you can't just go flip burgers and make a living. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can't go work at a Target and live on your own. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you got to go for those high tier jobs. At least with the military, they pay for most everything else, but you are kind of risking.
Your life, yeah,
Yeah,
in that
you know what I
sense,
mean?
yeah, yeah. And in Alaska, I don't know, but they get a lot of things shipped into Alaska, right? It is not really a place where things grow that much, right? Or am I
I mean, we do
wrong
have
about that?
farming and dairy and cheese and stuff like that, but it's not, it's obviously seasonal based, right? But
Gotcha.
like the neighborhood I grew up in, my perception of the outside world was you can achieve X and that's about it. And
Mm.
you know, if you try to go outside of the lines, like this invisible force will prevent you from, succeeding essentially.
Yikes.
You
Yikes.
know,
Yeah, that's a terrible mindset to have to be, have to fight through too with people saying that this is your limit as well. So so it's not really like a high college turnover out there then, right? Or no.
I wasn't from a neighborhood that really went to college. Excuse
Gotcha.
me. I did end up getting a full ride scholarship to New York Film Academy, and that's really what I wanted to do. It was a teacher in my senior year that really changed my perspective on what I could achieve
Yeah.
in life. And then I chickened
Yeah.
out and didn't go. So,
Right. But you supposed to go to film school. So is that your thing? Like, you're a filmmaker at heart, or like,
I
is that what
wanted
you
to
really
be.
want to do?
I wanted to be when I was, in my late teens, early 20s. The backstory with that is I went to an alternative high school. That's where I graduated from. And they had jobs programs essentially attached to the high school. And they had brought in
Gotcha.
like a intro to filmmaking as a class, an elective. And this guy that worked for Nat Geo was teaching the class. And he would show me all this stock video of like him hanging out of helicopters, videotaping volcanoes, and like going to
Yeah.
these crazy countries and meeting all these people and doing all this wild stuff. And I'm like, that's my job. That's the job right there. I want to be boots on the ground, taking photos of these iconic moments across the world. I want to be meeting these people. I want to immerse myself in everything that I could possibly get into, every culture, every corner of the world,
Right.
like whatever's possible. Because I mean, I'd been on Alaska like 3 times my entire life, so I didn't know
Gotcha.
shit about the outside world.
Right. So that's different. I get that, man. I mean, it's interesting because now you're over here in this part of the country, and you said in Tennessee. So what made you not want to pick it back up, the filming part?
So I work for a good company. I've been in the oil and gas industry pretty much my whole life, and I think a little
Gotcha.
bit of fear prevents me from trying to push that angle because I have responsibilities. Obviously, I had a kid, so I needed to have a job, and just kind of locked into just surviving, really. And the oil and gas business is very sporadic and up and down. I branched out into construction and Department of Defense contracts, and it's been good to me, but my
Yeah.
passion wasn't really with building stuff or tearing things down. I enjoy doing it. It's a great job.
Right. 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 But it's
But
just not your passion.
right, like my passion is writing, my passion is speaking. It is creating content. I enjoy it. It makes me happy. Like I feel fulfilled when I see
Gotcha.
people smile or laugh or, say, or if they've read the book and I meet a random stranger in the airport and they hug me for no reason, which is used to scare the hell out of me. But now I'm just kind of like, oh, this is cool. You know,
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, man. Well, I mean, hopefully at some point, man, you just jump out the window and just start filming. Even if you start with just yourself, man, because yeah, man, we can live our lives in a situation that's based on routine and of giving ourselves to everything else but ourselves, right? We all have a purpose, and I think that at some point, you know, the way that you get to it is just by just doing it, right? And with no expectation, just the fact that it makes you happy. But hopefully you get inspired, man, and get your pen out or get your phone out and just start filming, man, because yeah, it's never a shortage of content, right? They say that everybody's doing it, but yeah, when you really look at the percentage of people and how certain things are consumed, it's still not enough, right? So yeah,
yeah,
hopefully you do that, man. Hopefully you do that. But
we
let's
got
talk a little
some.
bit about. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, we got some things scheduled. My business partner with the Fancy Mammals podcast, we have some things that we're planning it out, storyboarding our adventures,
That's
and
dope.
so we can provide good quality content that's interesting. And so
Yeah, that's dope. Okay, good, man. I definitely gonna stay in contact with you so whenever that drops, I can, share it and help, move it around or whatever,
that'd be
depending on
awesome,
whatever
man.
platforms y'all have it on. Yeah, man. We gotta support each other, man. I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? All of us, it's enough for everybody, right? And there's
Hmm.
no such thing as you know, another person not getting somewhere because you're helping them. Like, nah, it all comes back around, man. What you put out in the universe, it comes back. So, nah, it's all love, man. Just keep me posted whenever you drop and all that. I'll be definitely love to support it, man.
No, that'd be cool, man.
But
Anything I can do to help.
yeah, yeah, man, facts. So look, let's do this, man, because in your book, I know you touch on a lot of things, right? Because you said during the times that you were your darkest is when you started, when you were jotting these letters down. Did you find that is that to be a therapy, or did you have a therapist at some point that you talked to?
So that's a twofold question. So I had tried the angle of traditional therapy, especially during the injury, because I became wildly depressed, especially with the medication. That's a side effect of the medication and the
Gotcha.
whole going through work comp and all that. It was a very brutal process. But for
Yeah.
me, I didn't feel connected in that way, I guess. I don't know. I just didn't care for it. Um it just seemed like an extra chore, or it was a hassle to me, and I just didn't care for it that way. I
Right.
do find like group conversations with strangers and people as more beneficial. I guess that's a type of therapy, honestly, like fellowship style things for sobriety. And I do take a lot out of that I enjoy much more
Gotcha.
than sitting in front of a shrink. uh, you know just my
Right.
opinion, though. I could be wrong, but
I mean, no, I'm asking basically, because everybody's different, right? You wrote the book, so obviously, so that's what I'm saying. Like, was that you felt like that was more therapeutic for you by getting it out, right? Because
yeah.
what I'm thinking is there's a lot of people who hold things in. Like we always reach back to the story of Robin Williams, right? Because on the outside it looked like he had everything that a person could ever want, and he did, right? Money, whatever. But he still ultimately took his own life because that part of whatever he was going through, he didn't express.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. For a lot of people, they don't express the dark parts of their life. They hold those in because they, like you said, they either think they're the only one or they're embarrassed about sharing it with people because they afraid of their reaction. So they hold on, internalize it, overthink it. Next thing you know, they jump out a window or they jump off a bridge or whatever. So the fact that you were able to get it out, that's why I was asking, was that pretty much kind of your therapy that you was able to get that stuff in you out of you?
Yeah, because I do talk about it in the book,
Gotcha.
because I cover what I have called walls. Like, I would wall off things that I did not want to deal with, right? So
Facts.
emotional trauma, or I'd wall off personality traits because I wanted you to believe that I was the person that you were looking for. Or I also refer to it as wearing a mask. Like, I could flip and change and be the person that you were looking for in that scenario, just so you didn't even question my loyalty or whatever. And I would do it at the drop of a hat. It was like switching Xbox profiles. I became so proficient at being different people, because it was easier to just be what you want me to be, rather than you even know who I am anymore, because it was pointless. And then you would know too much, and that would bother me. So I think that's part of the reason why therapy wouldn't never work, just because I probably would have just lied to them just to tell them what they wanted to hear, so I could just get a pass. But yeah, writing the book, getting it all out, was definitely like taking a lot of weight off my shoulders that I'd just been carrying
Yeah.
around. Like, because once it was out there, now it's just out there. I can't unring the bell.
Yeah. Nah, that's true. And that's the point. And then we realize that a lot of things that we've gone through, other people have as well. And sometimes our message hits them while they're still in it. So it helps them to come out.
Yeah, I've gotten some feedback from people in various parts of the book where they took a lot more value out of chapters that I was just kind of like, oh wow, I never looked at it like that, you know.
Mm,
Because the first version was much shorter and it was very dark. It was very negative. It was all of the high tier things that I've done wrong, and it was like more of an apology and recognition of all the things that I'd made mistakes in. And it was actually a strange phone call from a friend of mine from back home. She called me. She got a copy of the book, and she's like, "I can't believe you didn't tell him about the time you saved my life." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? You know, like I don't understand what you're talking about." She's like, "The time you saved my life when I almost died skiing." And then it dawned on me that this event actually did happen. I was like 25,
right.
26, something like that. And then I remembered it. Now these flashbacks are coming, and I'm watching it over again, watching her lose her ski, go flying into a tree, spin through the air, and then fall down a cliff. And I'm like, oh shit, that really did happen. You know, I'm
Wow.
like, so that prompted me to rewrite parts of it and add these other things that kind of round out the character, because the first version I really do bastardize myself because I was going through all of the motions of becoming sober. So I just wanted to get it all out. But I
Right.
forgot that in the process, like I wasn't just this piece of crap my entire life. Like I'd actually done amazing things. I just didn't mention them at all. But
Yeah.
she had made a comment that she's like, yeah, I tell my daughters that you're my hero, that you saved my life that day. And I never looked at it like that because I never would have attached hero to Jeremy's name ever.
Mm,
You know, like that's a big label to put on me because at that age, I was about getting messed up and getting in bar fights and causing trouble. And like, I didn't, it's not that I didn't care, it's that I was so focused on myself,
yeah.
I couldn't see other people's wants and needs. But in that
Yeah.
moment, whether it was God or whatever, chose me to be there to help her. And I just forgot about it, which is crazy that I just forgot about it.
Well,
So,
I was gonna say it's easy to forget the good, right? Because ultimately a lot of people do more good than bad. It's just that your bad gets highlighted more than your good. So whenever it's only your bad that people could talk about, or that they could see, it kind of overshadows all of the things that you do good. So yeah, you can easily forget. Like, wait a minute, but I did. You got to be a person that actually knows yourself, right? In order for you to have to. Sometimes you got to pop. I say it. You got to pop your shit and remind people, like, yo, nah, I did the right, and but it's really for you, because if not, you go into it, like you said, you go into a dark place thinking that you're only a dark person because it gets highlighted so much. It's just like anytime something is angry, it's like people will react in a form of anger more so than they will in a form of love, right? It's just the flesh. It's just something about that negative spirit that people dwell on that more than they do the positive. So it definitely wasn't you. But then, you know, in moments that we get to sit down, whether it was like maybe like you said during an injury or during any other time, that's when you could be reminded, because that's when God can get to you. Because a lot of times you can't get the right messages and stuff because you're too busy with your mind all over these other places or trying to escape your reality. I've had so many people on here that have dealt with substance abuse and they're no longer dealing with it. But the number one thing I could say that tied them all together, even though people had different substances that they was abusing, was the fact that they were trying to escape reality,
mhm.
right? Whatever their reality was, they didn't like it, so they felt being high or being, drunk or whatever kept them out of that. And then they stayed around people who enabled that because those people were doing the same thing. So it was like an energy, right? Everybody sharing the same energy, so that's how they were able to, to get through. But that's what I would say to that, bro, because it is a lot of positive in the world and a lot of positive things that people do, but unfortunately, that's not what get highlighted. And
Mhm.
that's the sad part about life. That's why they say it's self-esteem, right? You got to help yourself because the outside people, the outside world ain't going to do it. What you think about that?
No, I agree 100%. And that was the big thing for me is like I grew up in a pretty chaotic neighborhood. I grew up in a pretty chaotic family life. So it was more about survival. I built up walls for survival. I built up these characters for survival. So like when I became an adult, some of those didn't work anymore. And I was pretty naive to how the world worked. But I did notice that if I just acted like everybody else, whether it's, drinking, fighting, drugging, whatever, like nobody really questioned anything, right? They
Ah,
enjoyed being around that person because that was the person that they created in their mind. So it was like, oh, well, this is a free pass to basically just not have to deal with any of my shit. I don't even have to be
right,
this guy. He's a nerd. He's a dork. He's not confident. I can be this guy, and everybody believes this guy exists, and all I have to do
right.
is X, Y, and Z. And that's not even a cop out and blaming my problems on other people. That's just an observation I made. And it works. That's the downside. Is unfortunately it works. People don't really care most of the time who you are. They care about who they perceive you are, and that's it. And as long as you
Mm,
play that character or that role, you good. But the minute you step
right.
out, you know, like, yeah, no, we can't have that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think a lot of times in our lives we've been acting a role like for a lot of us, right? Because even from our young age, people have been telling us what we should and shouldn't do, how we should be, from having the adults in our lives, and we tried to please them, and that made us great actors as kids, right? Because deep down inside, we know that we had our own mind and what we wanted to do, but if your parent, like for a lot of people growing up, I know that if their parents wanted them to be doctors or lawyers or whatever, that's the route they sent them on. They didn't allow them to do anything else. They might have said, yo, I want to play an instrument. I want to do. They was like, yo, you going to do this. It was like, we'll let you do that, but you're not going to do that for a living. You're going to do this. And they forced their children into a scenario because they feel like that's what's best for them. They don't ever get a chance to learn their children and find out because our gifts will suffice. People don't believe in it because they don't believe in themselves. I tell people that all the time. Anytime you think that your gift that you've been given is not good enough to sustain your life, that's the moment that you've given your power away. Because the thing that you have in you, you didn't ask for. You didn't buy it. You can't pray this into you. You can't pray to be a great singer. You just either a great singer or you not. You tell whatever it is. If you a writer, whatever it is, you can't pray yourself into these things. You either it's in you or it's not. And a lot of times the things that are in us, we don't focus on it because it hasn't been cultivated. We didn't haven't had people in there that believed in us enough. Think about how many poets. What's so crazy? There's people out here who are great poets, and they have missed the mark of understanding how much money poets make because that's not a profession that people look up. People don't
Right.
think about these things in a certain perspective because that's not what's exciting them. They look at something that's attached to something that could be visually shown as important or viable. They are valuable. They don't look at the things that, for example, a person that grew up playing a guitar. We understand that people feel like that should be a hobby, but everybody I know that play a guitar is never broke. They never not have a job. Because somewhere somebody need a guitar, whether they play for 3 or 4 churches, they're never broke, right?
Right.
Because of that. And it's something that they love to do. It was a gift that they was given. Yes, they play by ear. If you're playing by ear, that's a gift. So a lot of times it be those things that people don't really think about. Like, yo, listen, being able to play great basketball is not a gift, right? But we understand that being athletic could be a gift, but not just because you play great basketball. So yeah, your thoughts of getting into the NBA and all this other stuff might not be the vibe, right? But it's being athletic though. Like if you continue on your athletic journey, it's going to lead you right into where you're supposed to be. And I look at that as whenever they say faith, right? Faith is the substance of things not seen, but the things hoped for. Like you don't, you just you know it's going to happen. So I believe it.
Yeah.
Why is it that it's so hard for us to have that about ourselves?
I can say it from my experience, right? Like my mom is she's a good person. My dad was a good person, you know, for all intents and purposes, they were just two people just trying to survive, right? My dad,
Facts.
military, you know, he did jobs, he was a mechanic, whatever. He did whatever he had to do to survive. My mom worked very hard for the same company. She stayed there for forever. And, you know, I think that she just kind of got stuck. And I talk about it in the book because I witnessed her in this stuck mode, right? Like she did a job, she did a task, she did it efficiently, but it was never good enough for the people at the top. And then she couldn't move up, she couldn't move down, she couldn't move over, she couldn't do that, right? She was just stuck. So, as witnessing this, like, I think that's kind of what cultivated my idea of I just need to find something I'm good at and just go do that and then just refuse to get stuck. Whether it's a lateral move, it's up, down, backward, doesn't matter. Like, I just have to find something I'm good at and just go for it. So when I told my dad about film school, my dad's main concern was, well, you're probably going to starve to death. Artists don't make a lot of money. And in my head, I'm like, well, damn, I don't want to be poor. You know, that sounds like it sucks. I mean, I already spent most of my life being kind of poor. You know, I don't want to be even more poor.
Right.
So it kind of put the fear in me. And I don't know if he meant it that way. But at the time, at 18, 19 years old, I was more concerned about, you know, not being able to live. So I did the next best thing and I went and I got a job. I learned how to run heavy equipment. I learned how to build shit. I learned how, you know, and it has rarely ever let me down. But again, I learned how to be a cog in the machine. Yeah, I've made a lot of money here and there, you know, I've made a decent living, but I never pursued like freedom, right? Like I think I would have rather been poor and just lived life than to have a plan and be okay. Because now at 44, I'm
Yeah.
kind of like, damn, you know, because, you know, now my kid's grown. So now I don't have necessarily that responsibility. So now I can chase things. And he's even pushing me to chase these things now, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, I'm hearing you. I got you. So,
Yeah. I like that, man. That's honest of you to say too, man, because we say that a lot. Our parents, they don't realize how much they shape our mindset, because we like to do things to make them proud first if you have that type of relationship with your parents. Because everybody don't have great relationships with their parents, but for those that have any type of relationship with them, we wanted to make them proud. So a lot of times when they say, because I know for me, my mom was against everything I did, and I did exactly that. But you know what I mean? Like she didn't, like she would throw my books away. Like when I would write things, she would throw them away if she found them, all other kind of stuff, because she just wasn't with it. But for me, it didn't matter. I still did it. I was mad, but I still did it. And I'm thankful that I took that type of road of rebellion, because in the interim of even doing your thing, you still wind up having jobs and stuff like that. But it's just that your spare time, you don't get in a lot of trouble. Like for me, I didn't spend time in trouble and all that, because in my spare time, I was doing what I love to do. And even though it was something that was shunned upon, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to do music. Music has got me to so much other stuff outside of just the music, with the music there, right? So I still have a catalog that is spent, that, gets plays and stuff right now, but still, at the end of the day, it has gotten me so many other opportunities, man, just because I focused on that outside of just being able to say, yo, I got to pay my bills, or I got to, just being able to be who you are, but doing that too. So I think I had a little bit more rebellion than a lot of people, because it was a thing that I was seeing other people around me become that. Right. So I'm from a place called, I'm from Jersey, but I'm from East Orange, New Jersey. And just from that one city alone, we got Naughty by Nature, Queen Latifah, we got um the Whitney Houston, we got the Artifacts, we got Lauryn Hill, we got Wyclef. I mean, just in my city alone. So if you think about some of the biggest artists in the world and you grow up around them and you spend time with them and you see it happen, is no way that you can allow another person, because we seen it, right? Just growing up, we seen a Redman is from Newark, so he's right there, but he was always, it's like East Orange and Newark is like right there. It's no different, but it was so many. Tisha Campbell, Shaquille O'Neal. I'm talking about all of them were there during a certain time, and depending on where you were, you run across these people, you see them, you be with their families, you watch it, go from the struggle of being in the basement studios, all these other things, into who they are now. Is very hard as a person to not believe that it can happen for you.
Right.
So I think that was, for me, that's what helped me keep the rebellion part of why I continue to, live that. And yeah, I took a lot of what people consider losses and different things like that at the end of the day. But when I think about how much negative stuff I avoided, or so many things that I wasn't a part of, and how good things are now when it comes down to the way I'm able to do all the stuff that I'm able to do, I'm just so thankful I went through that road. But I lost a lot of people, man. I'm not talking about in death. I'm just talking about just in life. Like, a lot of people walked away from me, bro, because I just had a desire to say, yo, I'm not doing all that. You know what I'm saying? I'm over here. I do things with people and stuff like that, but for the most part, I was out the way. And, I took a lot. I went through a lot for that, man. So I'm gonna be honest with you. No matter which route you're gonna take to get to your purpose, either way it go, it's not gonna be an easy one. So I'm glad that you are sticking with it and you're back in your film bag, or however that's gonna go, man. And you guys continue to be great, man. Because if it's in you, bro, the world needs it. So I hope you guys continue to push it. So this is what we're going to do, man, before we get out of here, man, because I want people to know a little bit more about the book and where they could get the book and all these other things. Would you, like I said, if a person came to you and they said, yo, listen, I'm going through X, Y, and Z, as far as addiction or overcoming, or, relationship between a father and a son, how important do you think it should be for them to read your book? Especially if they're dealing with those.
So as far as the relationship between a father and son, I'll cover that one first because we just had Father's Day. So that one, I lost my dad a couple years ago.
Gotcha.
So accident at work took his life, and we had a decent relationship, but it was more of a pre-programmed, hey, just checking in on you. We had our Wednesday phone calls kind of thing. I was a career professional. He had his things going on. After he passed, the biggest thing that I remember is, man, I wish I could call him one more time. Just one more time. And that hit me so hard that I was like, all right, look, I'm going to have to double, triple, quadruple down on my relationship with my son, because I don't want to get to that point where he's going to have regrets, right? So if it's a strained relationship with a parent or a father, first you need to understand that your parents aren't perfect. Stop thinking that they're perfect. They don't got everything figured out. They're just trying. My mom tried her ass off to do everything for me. And I didn't respect it when I was a kid because I didn't know no better. But as an adult, I see how hard it is out here. I've seen the worst of people. And now from a broader picture, it makes more sense. And I'm like, damn, I wish I wouldn't have done a lot of that. I wish I would have been better. I wish I would have applied myself more and been less of a headache. So you have to give your parents a little bit of leeway regarding that. They're not going to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. It's impossible.
Facts.
The shit you see on Instagram with all these people with perfect lives, most of that shit's made up. It's fake. It's for clicks. Yeah. Your parents, that's the real people, So fix that relationship, because you will regret it one day. And my book does talk about strengthening that, because the hardest chapter to write in the entire book was a chapter right after Warriors Not Wieners, which talks about the stories my dad would tell around the campfire. and how they were hilarious. And like, those are the memories that I remember. But following that chapter is, how do you say goodbye to the man that slaps bears?
Mm.
That chapter took me 6 weeks, and it's like 11 pages long.
Wow. And it took you 6 weeks. Wow.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm sitting there writing this stuff, and I'm just like, damn it. Like, this is it. This is it. Like, I never get to talk to him again. So fix that relationship. Do what you can. Forgive him. You know, there's obviously some extenuating circumstances where, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. That's not
and
possible. Yeah, I feel you.
I'm not talking about those ones, but like,
Yeah, yeah. I know what you
if
mean.
it's some petty shit, just let it go. We're all here for
Yeah.
an X amount of years. Let that shit go. You know, don't waste your time being hateful.
Facts.
I forgot the other question. Sorry.
No. The last one would be, what you pretty much answered it. It's like, why would a person, if they were going through addiction and all these other things, bad relationships or, family members and stuff like that, why would they read the book? And like you said, it's basically, your version of, taking accountability, number one. And then, because to forgive other people, even for the things that they've done and it's accountability. And a lot of people lack that. A lot of people lack accountability, bro. They don't think that they're wrong at all. And so just the fact of that, yeah, you pretty much answered it. Do you have a copy of the book with you that you can show people what it looked like?
Yeah, right here.
Right.
I won the award for life-changing stories through the International Impact Book Awards 2025.
Oh,
And I'm actually
yeah.
up for Author of the Year. I'm a finalist for Author of the Year for 2026. So I'll find out in
Damn
October
it.
if I'm Author of the Year.
There it
So
is, man. So yeah, that means that you really put a pen to paper on that, man. It wasn't just, a bunch of random things, man. So that's what I like to make sure that my audience know about when I have guests up here, man. Like, it's so easy for people to get wrapped up in people that they see out everywhere or whatever would be considered famous, but they don't realize that how many people that are on the level that they are have amazing stories or have their mental break way out. I like to call it that, right? Because there's so many people who are wrapped up in whatever they're thinking that they don't realize that, a lot of times it's just the way you're thinking. It's not necessarily the way things are. And here's a person that had gone through the same thing, and this is their other side. And so, are you planning on writing any other books? Is there a part two, or is there a redemption version of the Odyssey, the oddities? Is there how are you? What's going on?
so as far as the Odyssey of Oddities, it's written, right? The final chapter is Die a Good Death. And I felt like that was a necessary chapter to put in there, although some people don't get it. I don't want to die a death where it's lonely and useless, right? Like, I just don't.
Gotcha.
I want to make an impact. I'm not saying gold
Fact.
statues or some dictator level nonsense. I want people to be like, that was a real one. That dude right there, he was a real one. That's good
Facts.
enough for me.
Facts.
But yeah, die a good death. I joke with the kid. I'm like, don't ever put me in a nursing home, man. Put me in a boat with some snacks and a map. I'm either going to take over a small nation or I'm going to die at sea.
Right. I feel
Like,
you. Yeah, man. I feel you. I feel you. And so, is there any plans of turning your book into a film or sense of contact?
so I'm interested in it. I had a few people reach out about it, but man, Facebook is plagued with these scammers and stuff. So it's real hard to take
Yeah.
anything serious. You got to be real careful
Yeah.
on there. I would be interested. It looks like you got some connections, so maybe we can talk offline, possibly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'd be interested. I think if more people gave it a shot and just read it, understand that the chapters are short. You don't have to finish the whole thing. Pick it up. Pick a page. Tell me you don't find some kind of value on any page in that book. There's
Facts.
something for literally everybody in there. because I go through the gambit: drugs, gangs, fights, horrible relationships, addiction, dealing with parents, like I go through the whole thing. If you can't open it and just pick a page and find something that you can either laugh at or take some kind of value from it, I've honestly, I don't think you're paying attention.
Facts.
I mean,
I hear you, man. I believe you on that. I do got an idea for you though, man, as far as your thing. So when we get offline, I'll tell you about it. And if you guys would start from there, it'll be easier for the other connections that to be able to possibly come through. So we'll talk a little bit offline. Don't go nowhere. But to all of y'all that watch tonight, thank y'all so much, man. I appreciate y'all. It's a bunch of y'all that jumped on, and y'all know that we do this each and every week, man. We talk to some of the world's most interesting people. We're gonna continue to do the same thing. And don't forget, if you out there, if you have been through, or if you're going through, right, or you know someone that's going through these type of stories, right, where they've been through the darkest places, but we understand that there is redemption, there is light at the other end. We just got to make it there. So if you guys would go ahead and check out Jeremy's book, Odyssey of Oddities. Let them know, if it's available on Amazon, all these other places, right, bro? Amazon's where they could get books or whatever.
It's available on Amazon, but I'm going to tell you guys a secret. Through my Books By link, which is on my Facebook profile, which is public, Books By, it's actually cheaper than Amazon. Amazon doesn't pay me shit. Books By actually pays me. I got both digital and paperback on there. Amazon only has got me beat with the hardcover, and they want almost $30 for it, and I still don't make shit off of it. So please buy it through Books By.
There it is. So just go to his page. I see his name right there. Just spell his name. Go to his Facebook page. The link will be there. Go ahead and cop the book. Do you have an audio version?
I'm working on it. It is really difficult to read my own story in my own voice and not get distracted. But I'm working on it.
But yeah, that's another thing. So we'll talk about that too. So look, all of y'all know the vibes, man. Keep it locked, man. Each and every week, man, we do the same thing. We talk to the world's most interesting people. And don't forget, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. So until next week, y'all, peace.
Let's roll. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. She give